Box and Wireless Scotland, the very best of your box and wireless.
Gone down to a great degree because of all these people who have come in. And, I mean, to put it bluntly, Protestantism has been under attack, all right? The Christian faith, Protestantism, has been under attack. And it has been under...
Some faiths going to be under attack, Paul. I mean, Catholicism was under attack in the 1500s.
Roman Catholicism ruled the known world back then.
Right, the Holy Roman Empire. Now, what were the dates for the Holy Roman Empire, Paul, roughly?
Oh, roughly. I don't know when it began, but up to the Reformation, basically.
Right, so up to the 1560s, the middle of the 16th century.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. And the trouble with that is that they were not a Christian organization. And when any opposition came up, I mean, you have to look at history. Whenever any opposition came up to Roman Catholicism, they were brutal in suppressing it.
But I would imagine St. Columba and St. Patrick were Catholic.
No. Patrick, he was actually, his grandfather was not a priest, as the biographies would have you know, but a presbyter, which is an elder.
Right.
So Patrick actually came from, if you want, a Presbyterian setup, a Presbyterian...
Columba came from Ireland and was Catholic, wasn't he? He was a monk?
I'm not too sure about Columba, but I do know a bit more about Patrick. I know Patrick is said to have been a monk and created monasteries and that, but what he created were actually schools, and the people who attended them, to become ministers, pastors, I mean, they didn't remain celibate. They got married.
Why would we not all want to be Catholic again then? What would be the problem with that?
Because it is not true. It is not true, basically. It's not the truth. It's not based on the truth.
Right. But the church was started by St. Peter. Upon this rock shall I build my church.
No, the Roman Catholic Church was not started by St. Peter.
And he was a disciple of Christ, wasn't he?
St. Peter, yes, but he was not in Rome. Paul was the apostle to the Gentiles. Peter was the apostle to the Jews. Peter did not get to Rome.
Are we talking something other than Catholicism and Protestantism here? Are we talking Jews and Gentiles?
No, we're talking Roman Catholicism and Protestantism, but... Right. Protestantism should be, all right, the true biblical faith. It has departed from that to a larger degree
today. How can it be the true biblical faith when it's only 500 years old, and God is millions of years old, and Christ is 2,000 years old?
The Protestant faith, or the biblical faith, has been around, or what we know as Christianity, all right, has been around since Christ.
Right.
And it has always been, it's been very much under attack. Rome would have you believe that it totally vanished, but it didn't. It was always there. There were always people who were preaching it, in fear of their lives, usually.
Would you like to see this country go back to Protestantism, to being a safe haven for Protestants?
Yes.
Can you see that happening then?
No. I see this country. Well, I see the future of.
But why is this happening? Because we've never had a Roman Catholic monarch. We've never had a Roman Catholic prime minister. So have our guardians of our freedoms, our religious freedom, let us down?
Yes.
Why would they have done that?
As I say, because there is this move towards one world government, and so the bastion that...
But why can your one world government not be a Protestant government?
Because the one world government that we are heading for will be headed up by the devil, by Satan.
Right.
And
does Satan have a religion of his own?
Well, Satan knows the truth, but he will not want it to be disseminated, because the truth would mean that, he would be exposed as the devil, but he wants to be worshipped. And so he's the father of lies, the father of deception.
Right, so Satan's coming for the 3.5 years. You and I have touched on this before.
Yes.
Then Christ shall return.
Yes.
The beast shall sit in power. The beast will be ousted. Christ shall return.
Yes.
And is Christ going to be a Protestant or a Catholic?
He will be a Protestant, basically. I mean, he will be a Christian, all right?
Right. Well, of course, he'll be following himself. He's not going to... You know,
Yes, and he will rule on the earth for 1,000 years.
right. So 1,000 years of a Protestant Christ.
Yes.
Right, and what will happen to the Holy Roman Empire and the one world government?
The devil, all right, and the false prophet, as it's described, they, at the beginning of the 1,000 years, will actually be bound up and cast into the, hang on, I'll have to look this up specifically. Certainly, the devil will be bound for 1,000 years.
Right.
At the end of the 1,000 years of Christ's reign on earth, the devil will be freed, and he will wage war against Christ and the church, but he will be overcome very rapidly. And this is the point when actually he will be cast into the lake of fire. We have this idea, all right, that the devil is in hell, but he's not there yet. Hell has been prepared for the devil and his angels, all right, for the fallen angels, but they're not there yet. This will only happen at the end of the 1,000-year rule of Christ.
Right. Paul, I'm going to leave it there because we're tight for time. Thank you for that. I shall put this to the nation.
Okay, and let's hope we get these 500 at least.
God bless you, sir. Thanks again, Paul.
Right.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
Good morning. There we are. That's Paul from Ayr, who's very, very strong in this, that the devil is going to come and reign on earth, and then Jesus will come back, but he very, very strongly has suggested that Jesus will be a Protestant. What do you think of that? 01698 337 107. To your telephones. You're listening to Scottie McClue. We're live on the country's top phone-in programme on the country's top radio station.
Box and Wireless Scotland, the very best of your box and wireless.